Well, here I am. It's been a while. So, of course, this is so unplanned, just random, but maybe I need to do that more often instead of trying to wait to plan everything, um, because life is unpredictable. So, I came on because I'm here in my office and I've just been working on my passion projects after doing all the other stuff that needs to be done for the day, taking care of responsibilities. And as much as after doing that, I really want to just go lay down and kind of decompress. I have to work on these other things because if I don't, then it'll just keep being another day and another day and another day, and it doesn't get done. So I have to really press on and just make myself commit so I can get to where I want to be by the fall. So I'm excited to say I've been putting together a lot of content, pulling a lot of old videos from things that were done at DESA over the years. Over the years, and it's really such a beautiful thing. I'm so excited about what's to come, about planning this reunion slash fundraiser for the school that I am working on building. And I will tell you, it's kind of been a dream for a while, but something for a long time I really wasn't interested in. I won't say I wasn't interested. I didn't want to put the work in to do because it's like it was going to be so much. And, you know, um, I don't know. I wanted to do other stuff, and just kind of live and have fun. But over time, just it has increasingly been put in my spirit that I need to move on this and I need to move on it now. Um, the last couple of years, I spent a little time working with a private school that shall remain nameless for now. And as much as I like the idea of the school and like, the cute little setup and everything, um, the director or principal or whatever you want to call her, founder of the school, said she was really interested in having performing arts. But so many people put that label on things. Like, I think it's just cool to say, oh, and we have arts and but they're really not interested in the arts. They don't make time for the arts. Um, they don't really understand the level of discipline that's needed to do it correctly and effectively. So I will say they had shows and they had some classes here and there, but that doesn't make them an art school. And actually, what they managed to produce, and you all know because I've posted some of their things from time to time. And when I say that was like pulling teeth just to get that little bit out of it, yeah, it's unfortunate, but I feel like for as much work as we put in over the years and how hard we work to make it as professional as possible, so the kids could take themselves seriously, so other people could take our program seriously. We put a lot of work in, and I just feel like um, instead of building on that, it's just gone down, man, as far as what the system is producing. And that could be for a variety of reasons. But when I look at things today, I'm dumbfounded by what I see. I'm bothered. really bothered. And, when I get bothered like that, it means it's time for me to do something about it. If I'm that bothered about it, I need to do something about it, about this approach to education that just doesn't seem to be working. Um, doesn't seem to be working at all. I mean, there are small victories here and there, and people survive through through the institution. But especially now, working at a testing center and seeing how many people are choosing, not because they have to, not because they got kicked out of school or whatever, but they're choosing the route of getting their GED or something equivalent. There's a reason for that. And I know I'm not saying that teachers and educators don't have worthy complaints, but they're going to talk themselves right out of a job. There are other ways. There are other ways to get it accomplished. There are other ways to get an education. Now, it might not be, what you think is, quality education or whatever, but there are other ways to get it. It's just that's a whole nother rabbit hole. People get stuck on the small stuff, on things that aren't really important, and a lot of educators have developed this ego about where they are and what they've earned and how they think children are supposed to be, and this whole thing, and just missing the boat. At some point you got to meet people where they're at. um, and I know that's not always easy because you also have to deal with administration and just the bureaucracy. And I want to get away from that. I love being a mentor. I love educating. I hate the system. Actually, I don't think um, I know I couldn't thrive in the system. I might would be able to exist for a short period of time, but I'm stubborn and I'm a leader in my own right, although I do know how to follow, but I'm a leader and I'm an activist, so I speak up, and it just creates all kinds of problems in the system where there are such, to me, small-minded people. And again, I'm one of those people that really believes that leaders are born. Seldom are leaders made, not real good leaders. Leaders are born. But we got a lot of self made leaders, because they let anybody with a piece of paper, that's what I'm talking about. Like these educators talk about kids and talk about, but let us get on some of y'all. I mean, they'll let just about anybody get a piece of paper and put them in a classroom to do something. So, you know, I don't know. Yeah, that just really takes me somewhere. I know when I was young, um, I had some excellent teachers. I mean, definitely middle school age, like, you know, don't know what I would have done without my Aunt Alice. And I always say Aunt Alice, and she was my seventh grade teacher, Miss Green. As people say, I don't know what I would have done without her. Just amazing. Um, the impact that she still has, and she's gone. She's dead and gone, but the impact that she has had on my life is something special. And my godmother, Shelley Weathers, just amazing people. And there were a few people like that in high school, but you know, I found that and this was for me back then, and I'll always say I think I was before my time. It would, I felt maybe it was too easy to like con the system, because here I am, this adolescent, with a lot of adolescent problems, a lot of home issues, a lot of trauma issues. And, I felt like just by doing some work and, having great answers, having great grades, that's all that matters. They really couldn't see into me. I mean, this is all it takes. I mean, it's so simple. It's so surface. All I have to do is give you, you know, great responses and be participatory and make great grades. That's all it takes. That's all it took. Um, they really didn't see me and didn't see what I really needed. All they cared about was the grade or the assignment or the achievement. They didn't give a shit about me. Not really. I don't think. They couldn't or just didn't want to, I think, um deal with my pain or the way that I was looking at the world. Nobody cared. And I think sometimes these kids today, they know when you don't care. You can't fool these kids, you know. You can't finesse them, all the time. If you're not genuine, you're not genuine, you know. I don't know. That was way down a rabbit hole, but I'm just saying all of that. That's what has inspired me to take this step. And the time is now. As crazy as my life is right now, like with the number of things that are going on and happening. And please forgive Pearl for getting in the way. A lot of things going on in my life, a lot of moving parts. But this has to be done now, no matter what. I know that the time is now. It's actually overdue. I should have been working on this, but the time is now to get it done. And so I'm going to be moving full speed ahead. So excited about my potential board members for the school. I'm excited to have Sisters of Hope right now being our covering, our 501c3 covering, so that we can get the ball rolling as far as donations. I'm going to start sending out letters to potential investors. It is very important that between now and August that we raise about $60,000 at least for this first year, for this first installment. In this first year, if we have anywhere from 10 to 20 students, I will be very happy with that. I want it small. Um, I want to keep it small, but of course, we want to grow. But definitely, not going to try to get too far into triple digits, maybe 100. We'll see. We'll see what we have the capacity for and how I grow my team. But it's more important for my team to be authentic and to be on board with how I want to do this rather than just to have people, because I don't just want people. It's got to be the right people. It's got to be um, the right students. This school, the Shed Conservatory for Creative Arts and Entrepreneurship, is for special kids. It's for those kids who really don't want to be or need to be in a traditional setting. They know what they want. These are artists at heart, and we're going to do everything to make sure they're able to be the artists that they want to be now, not having to wait till later. And this is not an anti college thing because I'm not anti college. Um, if the kids want to go to college, students want to go to college, great. But if they want to find some other way and do some other things, then that's great too. That's even greater. So, but we just want to open the doors for them now, and it's a shame to be in a place like Atlanta and not have, I dare say, institution, but not have an institution that is a real place for creative people and artists. Doesn't mean we're not going to do academics. And I hate to even use those words because we're going to be learning. We're going to be learning across the board. And it's all academics and it's all arts. It's not separate. But I think people just don't know how that's done. So I'm going to show them. But, we're going to integrate everything, um, and allow the kids to learn through their artistry. I chose a seventh grade because I don't know, that's like a special time. It's a critical time, tough time, but a special time. Sixth grade, because, a mature sixth grader or so I might consider, but you have to be mature, and uh, you just have to be mature. Um, we're not going to be we're not going to be babying the kids, and we're not going to approach life and things and learning from a sheltered perspective. We're going to go in, and it's going to be fascinating. I can't wait till we start getting some of the books off the banned book list. Yeah, we're going to be doing that, reading the things that they don't want us to read, because we can do that in a private school. That's the other reason why I want it to be private, because I really want to be able to expose the students to things that I think are important for them to be exposed to. I did a little when I was in the system, but honestly, I was always taking a risk. But it was a worthy risk. I'm glad that I did. When I see the adults that have come out of that era, or that time when we would have those class discussions and we would talk about things and we would watch certain films, all of that helped make them who they are today. And I wouldn't take that back for anything in the world. But now it's time to like build on that and keep it going. We're going to be creating content. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So we just got to get there. We got to raise these funds. We got to get a building, at least a temporary building, until I make sure the school is registered as a vet business, and we can look at some surplus properties here. But we just got to get going. We got to get started, and the time is now. Working on the application online so people can start applying. I'm just excited. I am so excited. And I know that everything in my life, um, everything that I've been a part of, all brings me to this point. You know, Back when I was in Baltimore, when I left the school system the first time in Baltimore, I went to work for the church school, and the people who ran that school actually happened to be my in laws at the time. And such a crazy time. Whole nother rabbit hole when we talk about religion and church and working for ministry. Man. But out of that um, experience, um, I was exposed to some other elements of doing things a different way, with the curriculum, with the traveling. It was good stuff. So some of that I've kind of taken with me and I'm going to use. Um, I just think it's going to be fascinating. So my happiest moments now are when I am thinking about how this school is going to come together and be created, and how special those first few students, those inaugural students who come on over, how exciting it's going to be for them. And what a time. Like, what a time. So, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit, just to jump back in, because I'm going to be getting back in and talking about other things too, just like life happenings. Um, Maybe just things that people need to see. I hear someone, Imani, is it time? What happened? It is 10:59. Oh, okay. So we're gonna be ready, like right on time. So today, or tonight, there's a full moon. I don't even know why I'm saying this because it's gonna weird people out. But nevertheless, we are going to have some family time, spiritual prayer time as a ritual, um, because there's a full moon um, out tonight. Call it what you want, but I'm not dealing with small-minded people either, or small-minded or closed-minded people. I think it's important to um, keep an open mind. Keep an open mind. And so that's what we are about to do. And then maybe I'll get back on in the coming days. I got a lot happening this week anyway. Jay has a IEP meeting, and I really um, hate those. And again, I really actually despise the system. But for right now, unfortunately, it's the best place for Jay in terms of his disability. And especially since I'm not, at this time, I'm not a wealthy person in terms of finances because a lot of special schools for kids like Jay, like where they really have like that one-on-one time and specialized time. Those schools are easily 30 to 40 thousand dollars a year. Um, just no cap, 30 to 40 thousand dollars a year. I just, and I'm not saying it's not worth it. Again, I'm about to start this journey with the school. I can't imagine, maybe at some point, the tuition for my school would be that high, but I think we're doing good to make it 10,000 basically, and trying to have half of the population on scholarship just so we can have a good mix. But $30,000, yeah, it's a lot. So then here we are, in the system. He's been needing a new psychological evaluation. He hasn't had one since he was in single digits. He just turned 16, for those of you who know. Um, and we need the psych eval because we can't get the treatment that we need without updated psychological evaluations, and they're just so hard to get. So I'm not going to say there's so few people in child psychology. I don't know what there's a great demand. I do know that. Um, but it's been very difficult to try to get that scheduled. So I'm at a point of making the system do what it's supposed to do. I'm learning better how to advocate for my child, for my children. I think when I was a teacher, I think I was a great advocate, but for all kids, it's hard for me to just try to focus on mine. And I actually have some regrets about that. I think there were key times when I stood up for my kids, but I actually should have done it more often. I really should have, um, because I think that's important. And don't get me wrong, I think it's important even when your kids are wrong. Even if my kids are in the wrong, I'm still going to advocate for them. I'm still going to support them. Now, when I get home or whatever else, and I talk to them personally, that might be a different kind of conversation. But it's important to support your kids. It's important for them to know that you have their back. And again, that doesn't mean a teacher can't tell you something about your kid or give you advice. But I think, there's just a fine line there. I think so many times too, educators use that to get to, it's just there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving parts. And I wish I had actually stood up more because there were times when I didn't, and I gave the benefit of the doubt the other way. And, teachers stood on some stupid bullshit. But then when they had kids and their kids started doing stuff, it was like a totally different thing. It's just, and I can't stand hypocrisy. If it's one thing I hate, it's a couple of things I hate, but hypocrisy is one of them. Like, can't stand a fucking hypocrite. And I've met many in my day, in the halls of different schools in which I worked. And then also people who don't have kids, who don't have a clue. Um, you know, yeah. So yeah, I wish I would have advocated for my kids more. I think there were times when I let people get away with too much in terms of my kids. And then when I had enough, then I had enough, and I totally lose it. It's like I've said before, you really have to be careful about. You can criticize, you can, whatever, but you got to be real careful about trying to tell people that their kids ain't shit. Real careful about doing that, you know and pigeonholing kids, into something. I know that Jay is a handful. He definitely is not an easy child, but he still deserves love and respect and patience. And as much as I have dished out over the years, yeah, I earned that. I earned that. So we're gonna get it back. We're gonna take it back. And I'm learning to advocate for him. He had a really bad incident with the bus driver before the Thanksgiving break, and it was pretty bad. But he was also triggered. And so again, we get stuck on these things. Like, maybe she said something to him because Jay likes to take fabric and material and he stems with it, like he tears it, and I mean he holds it, and a lot of the fabric gets dirty. He doesn't care. It's like Linus with his blanket. He wants those same pieces of fabric, and he just has to have them every day. And um I think that day he got on the bus, and usually he'll put them away first, but he still had it out, and the bus driver wanted to say something to him about the things in his hand. And so when she said something, I was trying to get him to put it away. He was frustrated at trying to open his book bag, and he grabbed her hand. He grabbed her, which he will do. And them special kids, they're extra strong, so his grip was pretty tight. And I had to run back up on the bus and separate him from her, and it was just a mess. Then I had to drag him off the bus because then she didn't want to take him to school. She said he couldn't ride. So then it's explaining to Jay that he has to get off the bus, that he can't ride the bus, because in his mind he doesn't know that he's done something, basically unforgivable in that moment. He think he's still going to ride on the bus and go to school. So I had to drag him down the steps and off the bus, and then consider whether or not, because he put his hands on the driver, what was going to be the consequence to that. So again, it's just been a whole thing. And so now we're at that point where it's time to have another meeting and try to put some supports in place and some behavioral interventions. But, I don't know, you know, um, and there's only so much medicine you can take. Um, so I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. But anyway, it's been real. I've enjoyed this little time. I know I've been all over the place speaking on a myriad of topics, but it's just been good to get back on here and chat a little bit. Um, as I get ready, I hope by the weekend I can get all this content uploaded and just start to get people excited. I've started mapping out the show, how I want it to be, the things I want to have included. So I will be reaching out to my former students to get them to commit to what they actually want to do in this show, hoping that everybody is available for this important date. I just expect great things to happen. I think it's going to be a good time getting with some of my former colleagues to help contribute to this. So, again, I am also excited. And now I have to go so I can get with the girls. See you around.